Welcome back to Once Upon a Time, the podcast that starts like every classic story, but what comes next isn't. I'm Scott Brown.
And I'm Jamie Love. And each week we ask our guests to share 3 stories that shaped who they are and how they got there.
This week's guest, we have a chef who's going to be talking about storytelling through food. It's José Pizarro, who is known as the godfather of Spanish cuisine in the UK. Welcome to the show, José.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's always interesting and it's amazing to talk about what you
Talk about food.
talk about food.
Talk
Yeah.
about
It's
food.
the only
We all
thing I
love
know.
food. We all
It's the
love
only
food.
thing I know.
Everyone loves food.
And I'm already hungry now.
Yeah?
So by the
Wow.
end of this, we'll be
The
starving.
good thing is I have 3 restaurants around the corner.
Exactly.
You are gonna be okay. You are gonna be fine. Thank you.
Excellent. So, for those who don't know you on the podcast, what's your story, José?
Oof, mamma mia, where we start. Spanish. As you can see, 27 years living in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
My accent is still there.
It's still there a little bit.
It's still there a little bit. And arrived from Extremadura. Extremadura is a small village in central west of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Very rural. Extremadura is one of those rural areas that been tough for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's full of incredible people, amazing food, and a lot of history. My family were farmers for a very small village. Is where I grew up and stayed there until I was 14.
Are you working on the farm at that young age?
I didn't like it at all.
Okay.
I have to say.
Fair enough.
My mom and my dad, and they really were the one looking after the farm. And I was the naughty little boy, the third one of my family, 10 years younger than my brother and 13 years younger than my sister.
Oh, wow.
I was the one they never thought.
A surprise.
Surprise. Family, my brother working in government, my brother and my sister, and I was the one didn't like to study.
Yeah.
I have to say. I was more in the naughty side.
Okay.
When I was 14, I moved to the big city to study. I didn't study anything. I have to say I love more partying, and concentration for me is being very difficult always.
Okay.
Plus I'm dyslexic,
Uh-huh.
plus many things going on in my brain. That study for me was the worst thing ever. I was very good in party, I have to say. I enjoy very much.
Well, everyone has their thing. You know?
That's what I do.
I mean, you don't drink now. I've not seen you drinking at all ever now.
I
No.
just like my glass of
Just
wine.
occasionally a glass of wine.
Occasionally
Yeah.
after work, never working.
Never in the kitchen.
I think very little times you will see me having a drink when I'm in my white.
Okay.
If I start, I cannot stop. That means that my shift will be at the bar, not in the kitchen.
Exactly.
But yeah, I was just trying to study, not very successful,
Uh-huh.
until my dad told me I was 20, less than 20, until my dad told me, Sam, or you do something for yourself, or you coming back to the farm. Bloody hell, I was the best
Best motivation.
best motivation that you can imagine.
Yeah.
Coming to my my memories in a very cold winter in my area. My dad took me 6 in the morning to pick up olives.
Oh gosh.
That was not very what
Not.
I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I started doing like nurse, and then after that was not my thing, but was good because I was looking after people.
Mm.
But I was very good with dental technician.
Mhm.
For me, my ADHD is very difficult, and diagnostic with that. That means that for me to be focused in
Precise.
something
Yeah,
was
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
And I did very well, very, very well. I finished. I found a job in Seville, and in a new laboratory, and about 6 months, like a gap there. And
Before starting.
Before starting,
Yeah.
I thought go back to
The farm.
the farm
Yeah.
or the area, and I thought, wow, this is going to be difficult. Living 4.5 hours from my mom And my mom was really the one cooking for me, container, Tupperware. Here it is for the whole week. Well, I knew how to cook, no? I was like, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to start doing a cookery course. Because one thing, my mom never allowed me to be in the kitchen.
Why was that?
Was that because, as you can imagine, when you're in a farm, when you are looking after all the farm with your dad, plus looking after me, plus looking after my grandparents, that time for her, the only time she had to say, don't want to see anyone.
Just want my space.
I need my space.
Mm.
I mean, I knew, of course, how to cook, how to do bits and pieces, but as you like food, you really want to. And I started doing a cookery course, and I just fell in love.
And that was, so you start the course and you're like, this is for me.
This is for me, because they sent to you, that time, they sent to you to how you want it. Well, no, was initially was not for me, I just were there. I went there just to learn, but was to prepare people to be a chef or to know a lot about. And they send to you straight away to a kitchen to know if you really want to do it.
So they
Because
put you into the pressure.
They push you into the pressure. Thanks God, kitchen is not the same than 32 years ago.
Yeah.
But I just love it.
Do you remember your first day in the kitchen?
Of course I remember the first, not in the kitchen, my dear. I was bloody watching pots in the kitchen. But that feeling of, I love people. We know each other. I Bermondsey Street, from one restaurant to another, I can be 1 hour. And to be in a laboratory doing tooth, it's going to be very alone. It's going to be looking things. And that's it. I decide to not go to the Seville anymore. I think they're still waiting for me. And slowly, I just get into working very hard. I left the studies, working very hard, slowly. I moved to outside my region, and then I moved to Madrid, and then I moved to the UK. And
but
it's
from
27 years.
From when you first go in that kitchen, you're like, this is what I want to do with my life and my career. And you kind of start falling in love with food and how it's prepared and what it does for people at that stage.
Totally. But I say before, I was never allowed to be in the kitchen with my mom, but I was allowed to be in the farm. I was allowed to see, to taste eggs, to taste tomatoes, to take the food from my mom, to smell the bread just made, to smell the churros, to see what is going on in a kitchen. And I think when you are a child and you are lucky to be able to absorb all of those things, it's, for me, when I went to the kitchen, everything makes sense.
But when we're talking about this journey, we can go actually to your first book, which was a surprise for me because I know you quite well. And I was like, interesting choice. So do you want to tell us about your first The Devil in the Kitchen book?
Yeah, it is Marco. Marco, everyone know him. He's a character. And this book is for to become something, no? And how he worked, how become the best chef, and how the day that he got 3 Michelin star, that for him was the success. Say
at a really young age as well.
Yeah, I don't want that anymore. And the history, the life he was going through, the life he made for people, remind me the kitchen I was into, and I get quite emotional. Knowing his kitchen, no, but how I was inside kitchens like this, and how he decided to say, my success, I get here, I give to you the 3 Michelin star, and the success now, what it is. I went through difficult, life is not being easy when you're a chef, and when you're coming from, you are gay, and you're coming from a small village in a very remote Extremadura. And this book is say a lot to me, and say about how success just.
And do
Don't follow.
you
Will go.
understand that? Do you resonate with that giving back the stars? Because it's been really hard to get here.
Mhm.
I've been doing what I love doing for a long time. It's really hard. There's this accolade that I get, and then I just have to work harder to keep it. And you know what? Fuck this. I just want to be happy and cook food.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But how, his life was that. You get that point. Say, why?
Mm.
Why are you gonna live like that? And not just that, try to keep this one.
Yeah.
Try to keep it. And in this case, no one took his stars. Say, I give you back.
Mm.
He closed his restaurant, Marco Piguay, and now that's it. He's living with his in the countryside, and I work quite a lot with him. I adore him.
And that's great to have heroes like that.
Yeah,
But would you have worked in his kitchen back then?
I been working in kitchens quite similar than
Like
that.
it? Okay.
Yeah. I was working 16 hours a day minimum, 1 day off. Yeah, and how restaurant business was 30 years ago. Thanks God, it's not like that.
Mm.
Yeah, I was head chef in 1 Michelin star. In Madrid, in that time, I was lucky enough to be traveling a lot. Yeah, all about Spain to learn about different cuisines. But when I was in Madrid 27 years ago, the diversity in cuisine was nothing. It was very Spanish. It should be nothing wrong with that, but very square. If you want to see something a little bit more, you have to go to Barcelona, or you have to go to San Sebastian, the Basque Country. And the reason to come here was to get better. I wanted to.
To
in that
develop
time,
your own.
I was developed
Yeah.
to grow in
Yeah.
that world. And somehow, when I came here, I was not able to work in any restaurant because I didn't speak any English. I want to go to Chinese. I want to go to, I was not able. And I went to a Spanish restaurant to work, But my goal was to be Marco.
So you already
No.
knew of him at the
Of course,
time?
yeah.
So when did you read the book?
I read the book when I was here, of course,
Mhm.
because this book was published in 2000 something. But everyone knew Marco.
Mhm.
And if you are in that world of sex, you are of sex with your future. You are young. Everyone knew Marco. Everyone knew Ferran Adrià, and you admire them. Of course, my creativity was nothing to do with their creativity, no? But you want that success.
Yeah.
And then, sorry.
No.
So you admire him from afar. You know of him. You like him. Then you meet him.
Yeah.
How does? Because sometimes when we meet heroes, it's like, oh, actually, no. But you like him. You
I
think he's
met
great.
Marco a few years ago when he was not in that world anymore, and we clicked very well. But after I'm worked for Piano Cruises and one of the food hero, 6 years now working together. 6, no more than 8 years now, and then I'm lucky enough to be working with him quite often. Next month I'm gonna be with him, and if you see him, a guy got what any chef in the world wanted. He just loves good food now. He doesn't like any kind of bullshit. He loves creativity. Don't get wrong.
I think it's great that you met a hero and they lived
Yeah.
up to the hype, which is great because so many times
They
they
don't.
They don't.
Yeah, but
How many restaurants do you have now?
3 in Bermondsey Street,
Mhm.
the Royal Academy of Art in Piccadilly. I have the whole artist area and friends. That is absolutely amazing. I have the pub in Isha and the restaurant in Abu Dhabi. Yeah.
And
Abu
Spain?
Dhabi.
And Spain?
Yeah. And in Spain, I have the
Hotel.
guest house.
Yeah.
That is it's a beautiful place to take your stress out.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
Need
It's
to
a lovely
go.
place.
Yeah, no, whenever I see you and you're a bit frazzled, it's like, I'm going to Spain tomorrow.
Should we talk about the
Yes.
second book? Because
Yes.
that's
La
La Catedral
Catedral del Mar.
del Mar.
Uh-huh.
So tell us about that book.
That book was something that is something like helping you to build something,
Mhm.
you know, helping me to understand that you have to build your life. And I was I think I'm in that came out in 2005 or whatever. I was already here for 20 years. That means almost a bit more, less than half of my life. And when I was reading, I saw myself in many different ways in that book. The personal, the guy, Ameur, I cannot even remember. Yeah. How,
No.
thank you.
No worries.
How he worked all his life, you know, not for nothing, just to be there, to become, to build that kind of space, you know. And in many ways, when you read the book, it's teaching you how hard is life,
Mm.
you know. But it's hard, but it's enjoyable.
But what we read about it was kind of like, you know, someone moving from a little village to somewhere to build something very community driven. And I guess that's essentially what you've done.
Yeah, but how he tried to keep that his own principles.
Mhm.
How, you know, he didn't want to be anything.
Yeah.
He just came from a very small, you know, small family, but the principles were very important for him. The family was very important for him. It was nothing I want to be the architect, because he will never architect or designer.
Mm.
But how see the hard people coming, if I remember, from the sea with the whole big stones. And slowly he helped to build the most beautiful cathedral, you know, and that finished like that. He did the job. He built.
Did it?
He make it.
Mm.
It was tough, it was hard, but it's life, you know. Life is nothing easy or nothing, but at the same time, you need to learn and you need to grow and you need to become better. I think.
In his story, I've built this building, and that was what I set out to do. In your life, in business, did you ever plan to have a lot of restaurants, or was it a restaurant, or has this just happened because it happens? You know, when is it's finished? When is that point for you? Not like when do I stop cooking, but when is this it?
I came here to learn.
Mm.
I was able to see a gap in the market, to say that to be able to push the Spanish cuisine. I saw when I was working here in my first restaurant was very Michelin star foods. What I saw in that time is people didn't understand Spanish cuisine. You know, they went to Spanish restaurants and said, you know, it was no big thing for them because they didn't understand. And
It's
what
an education piece.
that for me was what I really wanted when I decided to stay here, because I love it. People just thought that Spanish cuisine was paella, patatas bravas, and pan con tomate or tortilla. I'm very proud. I have almost in all my restaurants, you know, but was more than that.
And your pan con tomato's very good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's very
It's
good.
Good tomato.
Yeah.
That is, I stayed really cooking, and then I start working for someone, their brothers, and really teach me how to go back to my roots, to say, if you want to promote Spanish cuisine, you are going to be able, you know? And I started doing that traditional cooking. From there, I moved with Brindisa. I co-founded the restaurant with them, and I opened 3 with them. And then it was time for me to move. I opened the tapas bar, José.
How are you feeling at that moment? Like, this is your name above the door of your restaurant.
That was quite unique.
Yeah.
Well, because my parents came to see.
Uh-huh.
But I opened the tapas with the thought that one day I'm gonna have the restaurant with my surname.
Uh-huh.
Not from the ego, because my grandfather had the bar in the village was
Oh,
called
nice.
Pizarro.
Oh, okay.
I say I don't want the tapas bar to call my grandfather.
Yeah.
I want to have a proper restaurant. And then one thing became another thing, and then I have quite interesting time with my business partner, just to say, and I thought that's it. I bought them out. Difficult, but I did, and then slowly I opened the city, then the pub, and then slowly being where I want to get. I don't know.
You know, you're doing the design of Jose, you know, what it's going to look like, what it's going to serve, and then like you got opening night of your. Is that do you at that moment, like regardless of all the others, like this is your first one, and it's
That was a unique moment.
yeah,
Unique moment because was my business. My name was there, and it was not about the ego. It was about the hard work to get there.
yeah,
Mhm.
You know, I put everything I had in that place, and the success for me was not to be unsuccessful. You know,
Yeah.
just want to carry on.
Yeah.
But was I when you open every single new place, the same thing when you finish and you get your first book from the publisher, you know, it's something so unique.
Yeah.
Really, that it's hard work is behind. You know, I remember with Lolo, that take me quite long to get where we are now. When I took it out the plastic from the windows, I cry. But the same thing, then when I get my book, is something really special.
And you've seen all the proofs and everything, but
You
like
see
this is
everything.
it.
Yeah.
This is
When
it.
would you
now.
get that?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you
yeah.
can hold it. Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can hold it, you can smell,
Yeah.
and you can remember it's not only me, you know,
course.
it's a big team behind you was made you to be able to have that book or to open
Well,
that restaurant.
Let's talk about your books because they're all. It's on one of these pages. I will find it. But each one is kind of a love letter to a region of Spain, and you've done that intentionally because you're saying educating people here about Spanish food was about going back to your roots, and so you do that in the books as well. You've got seven. And you kind of have a region for each, and you're drawing out that kind of uniqueness of a particular area. So it's not even Spain Spanish food. It's like this region.
Some of them are region, 3 of them, and the rest are very specific to something in my life. But a book is, for me, is to publish a book. It's always good, but it's really important for me to study, to go, to learn about, to create another tomato soup. But that tomato soup is not going to be the same than I cook in another book a few years ago, you know. Made you to open your eyes to, you know, my cuisine is, I will never say it's creative, it's traditional, no? But push yourself to understand different, to meet new people, to go to different areas, to talk with the producer for really small cheese in the north of my region. You know, just to see it with someone, to taste that cheese, say it's a history behind. You know, that's for me the important.
So when you're talking about the history of the cheese you were eating in the north, it's like there's a story here.
The story behind.
Yeah.
It's a, you know, before what happened with Brexit, for me was, you know, the most important thing was to bring, you know, 20 cheeses for this small supplier. And you cannot do that anymore because it's, you know, it's quite difficult with what's going on. But sitting with that guy that been making the same cheese for 60 years, that is what it's all about for me to learn, to write a book, because you will learn. And I think for me, book is not just to teach, it's for me to learn.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
That is what
and
is.
you're
Book bring history. Book made you to. I think writing book, even for me, cookery book is
I was going to ask
to
if
pass
you.
history.
I was going to ask if you've got a favorite cookery book, and it's not a cookery book; it's a story. But your third book
Yes.
is the book of Jewish food,
Yeah.
which is again, I was like, okay, that's an interesting
is
choice.
this
Let me do some research on this. But do you want to tell us about it?
This book is for one person I do adore. Is in my mind for many years, and for me it was I was really lucky when I met her. My first book came out the same time than her Spanish cookery book.
Mhm.
Of course, I knew about her. I knew this book. But when she called me, she got in touch with me and said, Jose, I know your Spanish book is coming. I know my book is coming. Instead, why we don't do PR together? And when this woman came to me and said that, what the fuck? The world is good.
Yeah.
The world is good. And this book is teaching you. I think I need to read again. This is the 25th year anniversary. But what I do remember is how food is bring people together. How food make people better. And helping to have a good time. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, Claudia is definitely one of my heroes as a person. I lucky to do Hay Festival with her. Well,
Nice.
You're
hanging out with her. You're hanging out with her loads. You're like, oh yeah, let's do this.
No,
together.
but I mean, unlike like you, we know many people. We are lucky to be in this world, and when you spend time. Now, I didn't have time to read the book again properly. I just got it, but when you just read some of the, it's just you are listening to her.
Mm-hmm.
The book is no amazing recipes from different areas of Jewish communities, no, but you really. In that time, I didn't know her when I read the book the first time, no. But now I'm listen and hear her.
No, you can hear her when you read it
When you read
because
it.
you know her. Yeah.
And to sitting with her in her house in North London, and how she's talking to you about life, about not just about Jewish cuisine, because she has few different books, no, about different cuisines. It's lovely.
But this book is a proper journey and took a long time.
journey,
Was it 15
years?
15 years.
800 recipes?
Yeah.
It's big.
She literally
big.
lived the writing of that book
Yeah.
to really bring it all together.
All together. But it's, it's history, really.
And it's really
how the history travel, how the food travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It's kind of really about a story about people and culture, but it's just through food.
Yeah. I look. I'm not even
taking that out. I'm gonna get that book because
I think it's a book. It's a book that say about culture and say about people, of course, and the history, and say about the world is good.
But I think all of this and you and what you do on a day, like food brings people together. It's where we can break bread and tell stories. And that's why I think storytelling through food is a really interesting thing to look at. But it's like, do you have like a comfort food? Do you ever treat yourself to a dirty meal?
I will say it's not a treat, whatever you say, we say, but it's something I don't do often. But pot noodles.
Oh, really?
And sometimes I have to say, sometimes help when you finish work, and that was no anymore, no. But sometimes I say the pot noodles around. I say, "Wow, the hell, that look good." Maybe I don't have it. But I said, let's look good.
A pot noodle. Wow. Apart from Spanish, what's your favorite type of cuisine?
Asian food.
Okay.
That can be British food. British ingredients.
Oh,
Come on. Don't go
come
anywhere
on.
else.
So what would be your favorite British meal?
Don't say fish and chips, then I really love it.
Okay.
I do the best fish and chips, one of the best fish and chips in the UK with a Spanish touch. The touch is saffron and in the butter, Estrella beer. I think in this pie can be
What are you
very
having in
good.
pie? What kind of pie?
Oyster and Guinness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's
And
decadent.
chicken. And I think anything that you put in a pie, you can get so exotic. Not exotic, cool or posh with lobster. But traditional pies are good. Roast, they are good. Game, how game is cooked here
Yeah.
is good. I think it's a lot of things than.
Wow.
The reason I came to the UK, to London, was to learn about different cuisines. And we are lucky to have everything we want here.
Yeah.
And nothing, can be very expensive, but simple food from many different countries is the best for me.
Wow.
And another favorite question is, if you think of all your restaurants and all the menus that are currently in the restaurants, what is the best dish for you, your favorite?
But I'm addicted now to pork ribs. I have Iberico pork ribs in Lolo.
Okay.
That were in the first menu. We have to take it out because we couldn't get it because they are in season. And they are ribs like that. They are fatty. They are spicy because we put chili. And you have that with a nice sherry. Can be a very good dish now on the menu.
That's their favorite.
Yeah, the one I feel it now.
Okay.
Like you never have a favorite kid, no.
You're not allowed to have favorites. No. You love it all.
I love it all.
Well, I think speaking of the ribs, you need to go back and
Let's
start cooking.
Prepping them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for
you.
coming in and taking us through stories through food. It's been an amazing adventure.
London is good. UK is good. But I'm so looking forward to see my girls, my dogs. They are going to be 7 years tomorrow.
Oh, bless them.
And we are going to have a party on Saturday. Celebrate family, celebrate life and friends and health.
Perfect.
Love that.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Jose. Thanks for coming in. Amazing.
Yeah.
If you've been inspired by Jose's book choices or by his cookbooks, then they're available on our website at uponatimepod.com.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, and you can check us out on social media, Upon a Time Pod.